Would you like to get free money for your business? Well, this is exactly what we'll be talking about today. Is I'm going to be going through with you with a special guest I'm going to introduce in just a moment. And we're actually going to be talking about a lot of cool ways that you can get free money for your business. So we're actually going to be talking about how you could tap into grants that are federally owned grants to be able to get government, all kinds of different grants today. I mean, and the reason we're doing this is because we had a Funding 30 challenge I think about a month ago. And during the Funding 30 challenge, I had a special guest that came on, talked about grants, and people went crazy. I mean, everybody has been messaging me about how do we do this? How do I get grants? What's the process with getting grants? How do we get the most amount of grants? Where do we go? All these different questions. So I decided to do something never done before. Today, this is the first live stream that I've ever done where I've actually invited a special guest to teach you this exact process because he's the guru, I'm not. So I literally brought in the foremost experts on grants that will be joining us today, and I'm really excited to go through and introduce them. So Chris Johnson is with us today, and he's known as America's grant funding expert. Now, to give you some background on him, Chris has been teaching entrepreneurs and business owners how to find, apply for, receive government grants and subsidies for close to 2 decades now. He's been featured on television, radio, and has spoken at business events with entrepreneurial heavyweights such as Sir Richard Branson. And his knowledge in the area of grant funding comes from firsthand experience in helping thousands of different people through this actual process. He's helped them receive a wide variety of grants from all levels of government. And as an entrepreneur himself, he knows the importance of being able to access capital to grow. Now, Chris and his team have researched hundreds of different sources of business funding in the form of government grants, loans, subsidies, plus thousands of other sources of funding, from real estate investing to college grants and scholarships to grants from private foundations as well. And what you're about to learn from Chris will have a huge beneficial impact on your business. So be prepared to take really good notes, and please help me welcome Mr. Chris Johnson to the stream. Hello, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Ty, how are you? Welcome. Thanks
for welcome back. I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks.
It's been only a few weeks, but that was a great event you put on there. Thanks for organizing that. It was a lot of fun to participate in, and just some great content there. It was just an awesome kind of gathering of different minds you had put together for us. So hope you do one of those again. It was pretty fun.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, I'm going to sit back here. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm going to let you take it away and teach us everything we need to know about to be able to secure grants.
Terrific. Thanks a lot, Ty. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Chris Johnson. I'm going to pull up a slideshow that'll help me stay on track and teach you the right stuff here as we go through. Ty's there in the background. And as I pull up my slideshow here, I am going to basically click through here, get it going, and make sure we can do this. There we go. All right.
I was just talking. I was muted myself. So sorry for the technical issues. We somehow had removed Chris from the stream, but he's now back again. This is what you get when we're trendsetters here, when we're doing something we've never been done before. So Chris, you are back. I will remove myself here and let you take control, and you should be good to go.
Awesome. I popped up. I think I pushed the wrong button there or something. All right, good. So let's just see what we got here in the screen. Am I on? Uh-oh, what's going on now?
So it looks like you've got 2 screens on your computer, and it's picking up the screen with your video on it instead of the one where you're actually showing your presentation.
Oh, is that right? Okay. All right. Let me stop it again. I'll try it again. So now I click on
share. It's going to ask you which screen you want, and then select the screen with your presentation, not the one that you're actually on. Or it does that like shows like 50 versions of itself.
All right. Are you seeing the right thing now?
I got it. Let me add it to the stream. That is perfect.
Okay. Now I got to put myself in the presentation mode as well. Is that working, Ty?
Looks good on my end.
Did you see the slide change?
I love it. It was like explosive. I like the graphics.
Cool. All right, good. So we're working now. Hey, you know what? Thanks you guys for putting up with with my technology here. I'm normally on Zoom. We're in a different application today, so it's kind of fun to play around, try some different things. But welcome to you. And Ty, that awesome introduction there. Thank you so much for that. That was just wonderful to have so much experience over the last almost 2 decades, like you mentioned, helping people to access this funding. And as you mentioned, Ty, yes, I'm known as the grant funding expert simply because of the success that we have helping our clients receive funding. It's been fun to do this. Now, people often ask how I became this grant expert. Well, first and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur myself. And if you are in business, there's lots of funding out there. But I became an entrepreneur in a couple different ways, primarily through real estate investing, not as a realtor, but as a real estate investor. My business was buying real estate. And as an early on real estate investor, we're talking 20 plus years ago, the number one thing that people are needing is funding, financing. How do you get money to buy properties and do deals and pay for repairs, those kinds of things. And of course, the overhead cost of running my business. I learned about these government grants just from talking to people, but no one really could point me in the right direction. No one really understood how they worked. And so I kind of broke out on my own and did the digging myself. I began to do some research, made a lot of phone calls. I did make a lot of mistakes too, but eventually I ultimately what I call cracked the code, so to speak, on how to do this. It's not that complicated, but like anything in life, if you don't know how something works, you're completely confused by it until you learn how it works, and it's not so difficult. And grants are no different. There are a lot of programs. There's a lot of agencies and resources and offices and different organizations to talk to, both government and private sector too. But as I began to drill into this, I uncovered a lot of different programs for entrepreneurs, for real estate investors, for homeowners. And I got good at that because I began to get funding for my own needs. And this is pretty exciting because soon I was flush with all this cash. And people soon began to ask, Chris, where are you getting this money from? I said, government grants, isn't it great? They said, well, we don't know how to do that. I said, well, you should learn how. They said, well, can you show us? And I said, no, I'm too busy doing my own deals. But eventually people started offering me money in terms of basically paying me to help them do it. In other words, getting clients to help them. And at that point, my grant business was born. So I was helping a lot of people who were hiring me to do this work for them, to help them research and find programs. And then it really took off because word got around fast. Soon I began to get invited to investor groups and business groups and various organizations. I began to get invited on television and radio programs, and soon bigger and bigger stages and audiences. Eventually, I was asked to fly around the country to speak across different states, across country, and eventually literally different countries too. You see, many different countries have programs as well, government grants and funding and subsidies and sources of funding that's available to you as an entrepreneur or an investor. And I've spoken in Canada, the UK, as far away as South Africa and Australia. So if you're watching now and you are not from the US, this applies to you too, no matter where you live. If this is something that you're discovering, if you are up in Canada or over in the UK or something, this works where you are. Even though I'll be doing a US focused presentation today on US programs, don't feel discouraged or left out because there's similar types of programs in every country out there. Now, with that being said, I'll go through and walk you through how this information works. More importantly, how you can apply for and get some quickly. Take really good notes. Make sure you've got some note paper, a pen, and jot some things down. I'll give you a lot of examples. I'll walk you through some case studies of people who've done this, that I've helped do this, and show you where to look, how to find out about different programs that you might be eligible for, and the process to go through to apply to get this. Now, if you are diligent, you're the kind of person that follows through on information and takes action at the end of this webinar, you'll find that you could literally start receiving this funding in as little as a couple of weeks to a month or so from now. We've seen people get approved in less than 24 hours. So it can be that quick. It's not always that fast, but sometimes it can be. So hang on, we're going to go quick and cover a lot of ground here as we go through. Now, here's that big confetti show that Ty was referring to. Hopefully you can see my slides here. Ty, if this is not advancing or the slides aren't showing properly, please speak up and let me know, okay? Now, with that being said, on business, there's money for all kinds of areas. Startup, expansion. You can drill down on things like employee training. So we actually have wage subsidies or training grants for your staff that are available from the state and federal governments. You'll also find that there could be money for equipment and more. We'll cover off a lot of detail on business later, but it expands beyond just the business funding. Like I mentioned earlier, there's other areas too. Now, one big key area is scholarships and post-secondary education. Many of my clients, while they might be entrepreneurs or real estate investors, they also have a kid going to college. So if you're someone who falls into that category, or you know someone in your family who's trying to pay for post-secondary education, which can be very expensive, just know that most of my clients don't pay for it. They get grants, scholarships, etc., to cover the entire cost of their post-secondary education. Now, again, I got my start in real estate, so there's money here for buying and fixing up properties. We're going to talk about that today as well. But we're going to focus a lot on the business stuff mainly up front. Also, nonprofits too. We work a lot with nonprofit organizations, or if you do have your own nonprofit, there's all kinds of funding in all kinds of areas. And so let me kind of give you a sense here of how many programs are out there. Just in the government alone, this is again the USA here, over 7,000 federal programs, 1,800 state programs, 6,000 county, 80,000 city programs. My point here is, there's a lot of programs, yes, but also there are a lot of programs that are from different levels of government. So don't just look federal, don't just look to the state, look to the city or the county. You might find some really good hidden gems there too. And we're going to talk about all of these on this webinar, but we're not done yet. If you go outside of the government to the private sector, you'll find that there's over 1.5 million private foundational grants. These are for all kinds of things, from business to education and more. A lot of donations and charity work too there, but definitely a lot of it can be for post-secondary education, business funding, and more. For example, I know some ladies who own a winery, and they offer business grants through their private corporation, which is kind of interesting as well. So it's not just foundations, but private businesses too. Scholarship programs, these are, again, from all kinds of sources. There's millions of them that are out there. Let me keep on going here and show you some actual examples of what this looks like. Here is Maritza. Now, she's a young lady who started off her business, brand new, didn't have much money to start a business with, but she had a great idea. And so she asked me to help her get funding for her business. So she became a client. And within 3 weeks, we did the application process. We got her $30,000 to launch her brand new business. That's exciting. Now, sometimes you might say, Chris, is there a limit how many grants I can get? Well, here's Sarah. She didn't stop at one. She kept on going until she had 5 grants approved within 2 months. And here she is holding 2 checks. She'd hold all 5 checks in her hands if she had 5 hands to hold them, but she ran out of hands. So this is Sarah's example here. Very happy indeed. Now, there's different kinds of funding I want you to be aware of. The first kind is government grants. Government grants are known as gift funds because they are non-repayable. They're kind of like a gift. You don't have to pay them back. They're the best kind of funding because they are non-taxable in almost every case. And you can have lousy credit. You don't have to have great credit to get a grant because grants are non-repayable. Unlike loans, which typically have to get repaid, you have to have some decent credit for a loan, but government loans are easier than conventional loans. And the reason why is because the government guarantees or backs the loan. So in case the borrower goes into default, the government takes care of it. Now, you do have to have credit still, but you can be turned down by conventional banks and still get a government loan. Now, these loans can often have better interest rates, sometimes as low as 0%. And oftentimes these loans can be forgiven. For example, there's many cases in business and education and real estate where the loan starts off as a loan, but it converts into a grant and never gets repaid. Time might pass or some other criteria might come into play there. Now, subsidies are like a partial grant. You pay part of the cost, the government pays the rest for you. It can partially cover your expenses. Now, this is more common typically in different areas. It could be in all 3 categories as well. In business, it might cover employee costs, advertising, equipment. So subsidizing your costs, you pay part of the monies, the government subsidizes it by paying the rest for you. So those are some different examples of what we call free money. Now, by the way, when you walk into the government office, don't ask for free money, use the proper term because they don't go by the terminology free money. Now, what's holding you back? Why are you not doing this already? Why are you not getting grants on a regular basis? Well, 2 things that holds people back is A, lack of knowledge. They don't really know how to do this. They don't know where to begin. They might go online, do a quick Google search. There's so much information. You might get 10,000 results on your Google search. You really don't know where to even begin. And that's where I can come into play. I can help you to source and find the right program. And we're going to do that today and show you how after this webinar, how I can continue to help you to do that. with the second issue is once people find that correct program, that ideal program that's right for them, they often get stumped on the application form. And so the first thing is not knowing how to find the program. The second thing is making mistakes or not knowing how to apply properly. Well, there's some great videos on the federal website, grants.gov, that walks you through it. You can apply as an entity, you can apply as an individual, and it's really user-friendly, easy information on how to do it there. Basically, I'll give you this advice. Every application form comes with detailed instructions. Follow the instructions. Those instructions will show you how to do it. And if you follow the instructions carefully, you'll be successful. If you're eligible and you apply properly by following the instructions and sending the properly completed application form, make sure you don't miss deadlines, pay attention to deadlines, pay attention to what they're asking you for to submit along with that application form, i.e. supporting documentation, for example, that kind of stuff. Make sure you include everything and submit it how they ask. If it's an online submission or if it's an in-person submission, however they want, if they want 5 copies of it, follow those instructions detailed. And if you do, you'll be successful. Remember these 4 words. Instructions are not mere suggestions. They're actually instructions. So make sure you follow those instructions. If you do, you'll be successful. And that's when the money comes. You want to see what a lot of money looks like? Like that. Now, you're not going to get piles of cash in your driveway, but you will get checks or direct deposited funds, which is pretty exciting. So a great starting place for you to go federally is beta.sam.gov. It's called the System for Award Management. And the reason I've got a beta on the beginning there is because currently it's a transitional process. The government's taken 10 different online websites and they've merged them together into one. SAM.gov is now the one-stop shop for federal funding. Now, it's got the beta because we're still working on the bugs. It's been a multi-year process, and soon, in the next year or two, the beta will go away once they've worked out all the bugs of the website. We're talking millions of links here, so you got to work it all through there. Plus, some are changing constantly. So with all that being said, it's a good starting place for you. It's kind of like Googling for grants. You're going to go to beta.sam.gov. It's going to ask you what you're looking for. Type in that search box what you're looking for, and it's going to pull up results for you. Now, you might get dozens or hundreds of results. It depends how you do your search, business funding, that kind of thing. Whatever your search terms are, it'll find those terms in its database. Now, another website for you is called benefits.gov. This is all government benefits. What it's going to ask you is questions. You'll see it's got a blue start button there in the benefits finder when you go to benefits.gov. Click on this, and it's going to go through some questions for you. It's going to ask you different questions. Now, again, if you're in Canada, there's a Canadian version of this. It's canadabenefits.gc.ca. So there's similar things in different countries. But of course, most people watching right now are in the US, benefits.gov. So it's going to ask you about 45 minutes worth of simple questions. What's your name? What's your date of birth? What state do you live in? It's federal. You've already got all your information anyway, but it's not unsafe information you're giving them. You're not giving them over credit card numbers, that kind of stuff. It's just stuff about you. Are you a veteran? Are you a senior? Are you a student? Are you a parent? It's going to go through all these questions, and at the end, it's going to give you some results. And the results could be dozens or hundreds again, depending on what they are. And many of those results will be actual grants or funding programs for you. I want you to now focus on that list you've got from either of these 2 searches. And what you're looking for are 3 basic things. You're looking for the name of the program, the purpose of the program, and the eligibility. Now, the program's name is named in such a way that it's going to give you an idea of what the program is for. In other words, if it's an interesting sounding program for you, it's not going to be called the ABC 123 XYZ program, which you have no idea what that even means. It's going to be called something that sounds interesting. I'll show you some examples here on the next couple of slides. Now, the purpose, that's a paragraph or 2 down from the top. What it describes is why the program was created in the first place. And why this is important for you is because, if you are applying for a program that's trying to do something that you're not trying to do, it's not really a good fit, you're not going to get approved for it, even though you might be eligible. You want to find a program that's trying to do something. The purpose the program was created is exactly what you're trying to make happen either in your business. So for example, if it says to create jobs and employment, and you're looking to hire some people, in other words, provide some employment to people, that's a good match right there. And so why you want to read the purpose statement or the paragraph is because when you get asked questions, for example, why are you applying for this grant program? You're going to be asked that question in most applications. rather than try to wing it or get creative on your own and come up with all kinds of wonderful explanations that you're so brilliantly going to do on your own, instead, look at the verbiage in this paragraph statement, the purpose statement here, and use the words that they give you, the verbiage that they give you. And if you use the words the government's using, now make sure you're honest and truthful. It's actually what you're doing. But if you use their words as your answer, they're going to look at your answer and go, oh, look, this person's doing exactly what the program was intended to do. We should award them the money. That's kind of the thought process that they go through. I know it sounds like a simple idea, but it really will skyrocket your success quite a bit. So that is the purpose statement. So why the government created it and what problem are they trying to solve? If it's hiring, if it's more business startups, whatever it might be, if you're doing that, or maybe it's providing some low-income housing or refurbishing some housing stock, whatever you do, if you're meeting those purpose goals, then you are much more likely to get approved for it. Now, eligibility could be what makes you specifically eligible. So is it for seniors, veterans? Is it for parents, for teachers, for homeowners, for investors? Is it for entrepreneurs? Read the eligibility. It might be for people from California or from Texas or from Idaho if it's a state program. So look at those eligibility criteria. They might be about you specifically or might be geographically based as well, like I mentioned. Let me show you some examples here of what I'm talking about. The Small Business Innovation Grant, the purpose of that program is to stimulate business innovation. In other words, innovative ideas. And to be eligible, you must be 51%, so the majority owned by a citizen or a resident. What that means is, yes, 49% or less could be owned by someone outside the country. But as long as it's mostly owned by someone in the US, this program makes you eligible. So if that's your business and you live in the US, congratulations, great idea for you. Now, here's a program for our active duty service members who are transitioning to civilian life but don't want to get a job or they've got a really good business idea perhaps. And so if you want to start a business fresh out of the military service, you can actually get the Boots to Business program. There's about a dozen different similar programs like this one. This is available to service members and their spouses. Great ideas here for you. The Women Business Ownership Program is another example. There's programs that target minorities. There's programs that target all kinds of things. There's hundreds of them. I could go through hundreds. It'll take us all day. But just to kind of give you a taste, this program here is specifically targeting female entrepreneurs. To be eligible, again, you must be a 51% owned female business. Now, guys, if you're feeling left out right now, don't be discouraged because go into business with a woman is the motto here. And that could open up some funding. The average grant paid out currently over $75,000. And so, ladies, you don't have to have a man in business with you. It's probably not a good idea if you're a lady, but men, if you're looking for a good business partner, for me, for example, my wife and I are in business. Does she own most of it? In many cases, our businesses, she owns most of it for the reasons right here, because it could be a great resource for you as well. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that. I'm just giving you different ideas here. So overall, these business programs' purpose is to help more people to own a business. It creates more jobs. It grows the economy. The small businesses in America today are the number one creator of jobs and the number one contributor to the economy out there. These target small, medium, and large businesses, corporations, individuals, and entrepreneurs. Grants range from thousands to millions of dollars. My clients, what's typical? I would say, $80,000, $100,000, $200,000 is not that uncommon. And that's pretty interesting here for business startup or expansion. Now, as we go through these ideas of what you can get funding for, you get money to basically develop your idea. There's all kinds of grants, funding, subsidies, like I mentioned earlier. You can pay for equipment, supplies, startup or expanded business, advertising costs, wage subsidies, training, like I mentioned earlier, much, much more. So as an entrepreneur, there's opportunity for you. You might want to look to the Small Business Administration, the SBA website, sba.gov. They offer all kinds of funding for you. USA.gov/business is another source of funding for you. SBA is mostly loans, but USA.gov will expand into all 6 different federal areas that offer funding. For example, Department of Commerce, Department of Agriculture. People don't realize you can get business grants and subsidies from those different agencies besides the SBA as well. There's other organizations too you'll find at the federal level, but also go to the, like I said, the state, the county, the city program. So Google your state, your county, your city, find their website, and then pull up, the tab that says business, or you can go to the search bar on their website and just type in business funding. If you see the term business incentive or economic, something to do with economic whatever for your state. Those are words that are going to lead you to the funding. It's not always going to say business grants. It's not always going to have that term. It might just say economic incentive or business growth or starting a business. Find anything to do with business or economy, you'll find the funding there as you click through the links on your local, state, city, or county website. This money could be for any business, brand new, existing, could be for an online business. Everyone's online nowadays, it seems, right? Not everyone, but a lot of people are. And if you're not online, you should think about it. There's money for that, for real estate investors like myself, as I told you earlier, startup capital expansion, as I mentioned earlier, equipment employees, and much, much more. So as we go through this, here's a couple of examples of clients I've worked with. Here's Jeanette. Now, she, like me, wanted to become a real estate investor entrepreneur. So she launched her real estate investing business. And within 3 weeks, we got her $36,000 for her brand new real estate investing business. Again, young lady, her and her business partner, very successful today as a result of that. Here is Jason. He applied to the local development authority and received $25,000 and got that money quite quickly as well. So just different examples of people who've done this. Here's Brian. Now, he's someone who's got employees, and he applied to the wage subsidy program, and it took him only about 4 weeks or a month or so to get the check, and he got 60% of his wages covered through a government wage subsidy. That's pretty cool because it covered more than a year, actually 78 weeks. That's a year and a half of the employee's wages for him. That's pretty interesting how that works. Here's Pat. Now, she's got an online business. She's got two of them. She's got an eBay and an Amazon business. So she buys stuff at wholesale and bulk, and she turns around and she sells it, resells it on these two platforms. Been doing it for a long time, but she kind of got low in cash, and so she came to she became a client of mine. And with that being said, I began to work with her and helped her, and it took her 24 hours to get a call back. So she applied, got called back the next day, but the money was received within a week, $10,000, and she used those funds to purchase more products at wholesale to sell at full retail online. So with that being said, it's just a fun process here. There's all kinds of opportunity here for you. Karen, she's an entrepreneur too, and she says, Chris, thanks so much for opening my eyes to the many grants available to me. To date, I've received 6 different grants for my business. So that's one more than Sarah I showed you earlier. And 6 for 6, she didn't get turned down at all. She applied to 6 programs and all 6 were approved. And that's just exciting here to share these success stories with you. My goal is to help you. And, people often ask, they say, Chris, how can you help us? What is it that you do? Well, I'm going to do a deep dive here. I'm going to show you some funding for real estate. I'm going to show you some funding for free college, university education. And I got some really cool announcements for you. But first, to kind of answer that question, how do I help people? There's a bunch of things that I do. I've done online classes. I've done live classes. One of the things I do is I offer an ongoing monthly continuing education program, which people just love. It's called the Grant Locator. And, it's a CD and it's a newsletter, etc. But, this comes in your mail. It's also online streaming. I know where CDs are kind of passé now, but a lot of people still love those ideas. And with that being said, the Grant Locator, I go through all kinds of different topics and tips and pointers, etc. And I show you how to increase your funding chances, find really good sources. I teach about 6 different topics every month. I also interview clients monthly and record those interviews for you to benefit from. So they actually walk through what they did to get a grant. It's very interesting. Now this program has got a monthly subscription price attached to it, which is $79 per month. Now with that being said, before we're done today, I'm going to show you how to get a couple of these for free. So if you'd like to get free stuff, hold on. I'll teach you how before we're done, how you can access a couple of these for free as well. Now, this is just one thing that I do. It's a great program. People love it. People subscribe to it. They get all kinds of great benefits. Been doing it for about 10 years now. One of my higher level services I offer is my personal one-on-one help. It's kind of individualized for the person. You tell them what kind of funding that you need. I do extensive and thorough research for you. I review your business plan for you. I'll help you with your application forms. I'll help you every step of the way. It's as much of me as you need. It's unlimited. Now, we do work by email because phone conversations, we retain less than 50% of what a phone conversation is. Giving out long-winded URLs to copy down is painful over the phone, so we go back and forth in email. I work with a lot of clients, so for me, it's easy to recall our past conversations if they're not that frequent. maybe every week or month or so, but we get a full year of this. I offer my clients for $10,000, which is a bargain when you think about that, because imagine this, you're getting $100,000 or $200,000 or even $50,000 in your very first grant application for only $10,000 invested with me to help you to do it. That's a bargain. This is also a gift that keeps on giving, because once you learn how to do this, most of my clients don't ever stop applying. They keep going back again and again and again. There's no restrictions in how many times you can apply. And that's good to know as well. So that's just one of the higher level services I offer. But as I mentioned a minute ago, I want to show you some real estate stuff, because maybe you are an entrepreneur, but you also own a home, or you want to own a home, or you always thought about doing real estate investing, or you're already an active real estate investor. There's all kinds of areas in real estate. Energy upgrades is one example. This here is to lower your energy consumption through energy upgrades to your properties. It could be your own home or rental properties. Here's a good example, Lauren here. He says, Chris, I want to thank you for your program. I received 2 federal grants, the Home Energy Assistance Program and the Residential Weatherization Assistance Program. We've got help with our bills and weatherization of our home, so doors, windows, that kind of thing, and putting more efficient appliances in, for example, heat on demand hot water systems, or also known as tankless hot water systems, or there's more efficiencies in your heating and cooling systems around your home as well. It can save you literally hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year. A lot of my clients have their utility costs cut in half if they've got very inefficient properties. Now, down payment assistance, these are for first-time home buyers, people who are looking to get into home ownership for the first time. Most states offer those. Opportunity zones, these are for entrepreneurs and investors and traders. You see what these are, it's a new thing that came out a year and a half ago with some of the tax changes, and opportunity zones are created in every state. And you could take your profits from your real estate investing or your stock trading or whatever it is that would normally be called a taxable gain, and you can convert that. Instead of paying the tax, you can buy more houses with it. So choice A, pay tax. Choice B, invest in more properties. They have to do just a little bit of fix-up work, nothing too crazy, but maybe put some new flooring or make the property a little bit, fixed up a little bit. As long as you're putting something into the community, creating some more housing in these opportunity zones, it could be a great investment. I own a few of those, which is kind of interesting. Block grants, I wouldn't worry about too much about that. It's just federal funds, but it's paid at the local level. So if you've got some discretionary monies you need for community events, those kinds of things, there's all kinds of things out there. I want to talk about HUD, Housing and Urban Development, the rehab programs, as well as the state programs and the county programs and the city programs. Housing and rehabilitation grants that are out there. These affect everything from historical properties, like older historical preserved heritage type homes, or commercial properties, or multifamily. No matter what you're doing, or just strictly simple, bread and butter houses. There's monies for all kinds of things. Here's some examples. Rob and Alicia, they are what are called fixer flippers. They buy properties, fix them up, and rehab them, then they sell them. And with my help, they applied to the city where the house was located, received $10,000 in just a couple of weeks after applying, and they got that check sent to them. What happens when you get approved for a grant, the letter gets sent awarding you the money, and then along comes that check. And sometimes it's direct deposit, like I mentioned, but when you get the money, smiles break out everywhere. It's called having a free money moment. My goal is to help you have lots of these going forward. Now, this is pretty exciting, right? Now, $10,000, you might say, Chris, how much can we get? Well, it all depends on what you're doing. You have to justify your costs. You have to submit your contractor bids and quotes and estimates. There's going to be an inspection done to make sure there really is a house there. You can't fake it and get a grant for nothing. Don't forget that. If you try to mislead or trick the system, you'll end up paying for it. Trust me. You actually have to have a proper renovation in this case that you're doing. They'll get inspected and approved, and otherwise the money has to get paid back. But in this case, you're doing everything properly. They get the check. It covered all the rehab costs. Awesome. That's just a just net profit for them in their deal otherwise. Now you might say, Chris, can you get more? My average client receives over $20,000 on their very first application. If you take all of my clients, average out what the average person gets in the very first application, over $20,000. So I don't know if you're feeling average, above average, or below average right now, but chances are you're probably in that average range. But we've had clients receive hundreds of thousands too. So it'll be pretty exciting for you as we go through here. Here's Carol. She's got 4 different houses she's rehabbing. She's a busy lady. She's got 4 houses on the go. And with those 4 houses, we applied to 2 different county level grants that were in her county. And the first grant was for $9,854. Second one over $17,000, totaling over $27,000. Her repairs on the 4 houses cost not one thin dime. So think about that. This is just profit in your pocket. You otherwise have to pay this out of your own pocket to do these rehabs. So as a real estate investor, doing fixer-uppers, it can be a good thing. Very first grant these 2 ever applied to, $16,000, painting windows, all brand new, all non-repayable grant money. That's Kim and Fred Hooper there. Now here's Jerome and LaShawn. Now they actually came to me because their daughter wanted to go to college and they wanted to get a free scholarship to go to college with, but they didn't see themselves as real estate investors. But as I talked to them about the opportunities, while we did apply and get the scholarships, that's great. We also helped them to apply for money, which they didn't think they would actually get. They got, it was $58,000. And that paid for, this paid for 3 different investment properties they purchased. They still the loans, the mortgages on those, but who paid those? The tenants did. So they actually had positive cash flow after the insurance, the taxes, and the mortgage. They still had positive cash flow from the rents they're collecting. So they're making money in the short term, but they're building long-term wealth as those mortgages get paid off and those properties appreciate in value as well, which is pretty exciting. So there's all kinds of opportunity here. So we've seen business funding so far. We've seen real estate. Let's talk education. Now in education, just know that there's money for the entire educational spectrum, from preschool to private schooling to going back to school. There's all kinds of scholarships, academics, athletics, whatever it might be. You can get money for any career you want, business, from engineering to computer science, med school, law school. We've had clients get full law school, full med school paid for with my assistance with the funding that's out there. You can study internationally as well, which is kind of fun too. Now, in the area of education, what you want to do is plan ahead. The difference of education funding versus business and real estate is there's going to be about 2 or 3 or 4 in the case of Sarah and Karen, 5 or 6 grants in those categories. But in education, it's about 2 or 3 dozen applications you ought to be sending in. Don't apply for one scholarship or one grant for your education. Apply to dozens. Now, there's a few you can apply to at the state level and federally. Apply to those for sure. Grades are often important, so make sure your kids are getting really good grades. So planning ahead, monitoring their grades, get the extra help and support they need. And with that being said, then once you've applied to what the government has, talk to the colleges themselves and the universities. Find out what kind of funding they offer directly. They offer some great programs. Then look to the private sector, foundations. Just go to Google and type in foundational grants, educational scholarships, and you'll find there's some great ones out there. For example, I'm blanking out here. Grants to individuals from Foundation Center. So Foundation Center is the organization, but through the grants to individuals, they've got a little search engine. It's like $19 a month. You can pay for it just 1 month only. Do a search, answer 7 questions. It'll find you hundreds of foundational grants that you're eligible for. That's one of hundreds of different foundation organization search engines that are out there, leading you to the over 1 million different foundations that are out there available. So you find that's quite helpful. Plus also private business, everyone from Walmart to Home Depot to McDonald's offers scholarships too. Just check it out online. You're going to be quite interested in what you're going to find out there. Here's Eileen. Her son applied, received a grant for $25,000, non-government money. It was $25,000 from the college, $25,000 there. But he also got federal grants as well, $5,860 there, and a federal government loan for $4,500, which is a 0% loan, which converts into a grant that is a forgivable loan. We're going to talk about those in a second here. Cover the whole tuition cost for her son, which is pretty exciting. Now, here's Glenn. In this case, he received a full university scholarship for $138,000 on top of a foundation fellowship for $80,000, totaling over $227,000. That's pretty exciting there for the Glosser family. That's an awesome amount of money for an education. No government money involved there as well. Now, when it comes to student loan debts, now we know that there's some talk right now about President Biden pausing student loan debt repayment and some forgiveness that's out there. It's all pretty, great news for students with staggering debt loads, but it's not a guarantee and it's not a for sure. But what we do here in my company is we help people pay off student loan debts through the student loan debt reduction programs that are out there. These are not, we don't pay them off for you. Don't get me wrong here. It's not bankruptcy. It's not one of those deals. This is actual legitimate reduction in student loan debt through government programs that exist currently. We help you to navigate that system. And we've helped Rochelle here wipe out $37,000. We've helped Sue just recently over $109,000 eliminated. Very grateful, Chris, for your grant program and expert guidance. As a result of using your course materials and your one-on-one consulting, within 1 month, I located, applied for, and received $109,000 of student loan forgiveness. I didn't even know I qualified for it. That's pretty cool right there, says Sue. Now, you know what? Something else to be concerned about right now is what's happening out there in the world. Obviously, COVID funding is a big area. Not to frighten you there with that big COVID virus on the screen here, but as an individual, there is a pandemic unemployment assistance you might be familiar with. They've extended that one as well as a pandemic emergency unemployment compensation program through early September. These programs are being extended now to help you out if you're struggling from layoffs or unemployment situations. So these are to help you to pay the bills. And a big part of that $1.9 trillion package has refunded a lot of these programs that were initially passed a year ago. Now, businesses, there's money for you too. The SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan Emergency Advance Program, again, more funds available here. Just go to sba.gov. Every website you go to nowadays, pretty much on the government side, this is true for the Canadians as well as Americans, or even internationally, it's going to have a big COVID link on their website to check out COVID funding and COVID programs that might be helpful to you. So if you go to sba.gov, you'll find the COVID link there, for example. There is debt relief if you do have staggering business debt. Thanks to COVID, from losing a lot of your income source, there's help there. The PPP program, we're all familiar with that one there to help you retain employees and pay for them, is there for you as well. Now, there's also some non-government business programs as well. For example, the Barstool Fund. This is pretty cool. Let's go to just Google Barstool Fund. It's just an interesting thing. Or barstoolfund.com, I believe, is a website there. But you'll find is some really helpful people donate. There's a lot of fundraising there that helps small businesses in need. We saw earlier this year Facebook and even Lowe's Hardware. They actually had millions and millions of dollars available in COVID funding. Now, a lot of those programs have dried up. Now they've gone through the funding there. Lowe's might redo some more, I think, pretty soon. But it's pretty interesting how even big corporate America is helping out small business America too, which is kind of interesting. In real estate, check to your state HUD program for any kind of rent relief that's out there. So again, this is all COVID related. Most programs have been around for decades. They might change from time to time. The COVID funding here, of course, is for a relatively short time, last year and this year. And that's just kind of interesting to help out people as well. Moratoriums and evictions have been extended as well if you're someone who's struggling that way. But ultimately, with that being said, in business alone, over 1 million people, over 1 million entrepreneurs across the country receive funding every single year. If you're not doing it, you're missing out big time. You ought to do this. Now, when you add to that, not only the business, but also the education and the real estate that's out there and the training, et cetera, over 20 million people are receiving free funding from the government every year across America. This doesn't even include the nonprofit, private sector. This is the government stats alone. And as you look at this number here, it's staggering. It's huge, of course. Now, who pays for it? Well, we all do. We all pay our taxes like good, loyal citizens. We pay our taxes as required by law, and we do that. And as we pay it, all goes into the pot, right? The government allocates money out in different grant programs and different government agencies, et cetera, for a lot of different reasons. Over $500 billion in America goes to these government programs. It's been going on for years, for decades. The money's been growing every year, and so you're paying for it. And if you're not taking advantage of it, other people are using your hard-earned tax dollars to put their kid through college or launch their dream business. My point is it's time for you to take advantage of money that you've been paying in all these years. It's time for you to make a withdrawal on that through a grant or a subsidy for your own needs. So rather than fuel other people's dreams, it's time to start fueling your dreams. So what have I done for you here? Let me really help you. I want to help you tremendously. So what my team and I have done is spent almost 2 decades researching these programs and successfully helping thousands of our clients apply for and receive this money. And what we do is we comb through all the websites, federal, state, and local, to find all the programs that are out there in the area of business, definitely, but also in other areas too, like education or real estate. And we find all the programs that are out there, the eligibility criteria, how to apply, the link to download the application forms, and so much more. It's all in there for you, which is pretty exciting. So what I've done is I put together a program called my Free Money for Business Course Program Manual. This is chock full of literally hundreds of programs for entrepreneurs, business owners, or people who want to launch a business, who don't have the money to launch it, or just want to grow it, whatever your situation is. If it's business related, you want to have clients buying from you something, or your services, your products, you want to be in business for yourself, you need this program because it's up to date, it's current. And again, for the Canadians or international, I've got programs for almost most developed countries out there. I have created programs in each country. So if you are from Canada, I've got a Canadian version for you as well. Just be aware of that. But again, this is the US one here. I go through all federal programs that are out there, all different agencies, plus the state programs and more. The audio CD that accompanies the manual, this audio program, I walk you through the programs, how they work, how to apply, the business planning process that might have to be accompanying with your grant proposal as well. Really simple process there as well. I walk you through all of this in this particular program manual. To accompany that, the steps to actually go through are covered in my How to Apply course program manual. This is the step-by-step guide, what to do first, second, and third. I make it so simple, so straightforward, how to communicate with the funding agency, how to find the right funding agency, how to submit your application properly, the difference between grants and proposals. They're basically the same thing, but they're put together differently, and how to actually do it. It's really comprehensive and straightforward, but these two work synergistically hand in hand together. And so these two, I retail because I keep them constantly updated. It is valuable information in here, and it's what you need. And, for the amount of grants that you get it could be, hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially. I retail this program for $2,000. Now, some good news here. I'm going to give you a break on this because you're watching me here through these various social media platforms and today. But I'm going to give you a break here. But hold on a second, because I've also got some amazing feedback on this program. Here's Tom. He says, "Dear Chris, thanks to your program," he's talking about the business and how to apply there, "I was able to get $100,000 in less than 7 days. $100,000 doesn't come easily, but the sound direction your program provided, it wasn't that difficult. Thank you, Chris." Pretty fantastic to get $100,000 in less than a week, right? But here's Abby. She got $245,000, like 2.5 times more than Tom did. Now, it took her a bit longer. It was a couple of months before she got hers, but she used that money to purchase the building for her business, which is pretty exciting. So with all that being said, there's all kinds of funding out there. Now, success stories have been coming in on a steady stream. These are all clients of mine I'm showing you here on the screen. These are all people I've worked with. I know them. I've helped them. They came to me for help. We began to do the research and find them funding and help them through the application process. I'm not showing you all of my clients. If I showed you all of my clients, the thousands I've helped over the years, it would take me a couple of hours to go through at this speed and show you all of them. I'm just showing you a handful, random selection of people I've helped get money for their business, repairing properties, investing in real estate. Here's some real estate ones there, education, etc. All kinds that are out there. Now, as we go through here, just know that this could be you. So if you're someone who needs money for something, for anything, for your business, your real estate, your kids' college, I'm the one that can help you. I can help you. I can show you. I'll work with you. My business program, my How to Apply program, and my consulting I mentioned earlier, you know how much these cost. Now, I want you to have access to the consulting as well. This consulting, I charge $10,000 a year normally, and all this combines to over $12,000 in total value. You're not going to come close to that. You know what? Here's a couple things. If you say, "Yes, Chris, I want to take advantage and I want you to help me. I want you to work with me. I want you to show me how to do this and communicate with me and walk through the process and basically get access to the information, that valuable information, the manuals there. I'm going to waive my consulting fee. I'm going to include the consulting with that." How is that for a deal, right? So that's gone. You don't pay that. You don't pay that ever, but you get it. You get 1 full year of unlimited consulting and mentoring with me back and forth. You're going to have that. It's over $12,000 total value. So $2,000 is what we're looking at here so far, right? But I'm going to throw in some more bonuses too to make it even better for you. Real estate investors, homeowners, you need to get my Free Money for Real Estate course program manual as well. This here is all the programs for investing in, fixing up, your own home or rental properties or investment properties you happen to own. I retail this program also for $1,000. Now this one here, I'm going to include it for free as a bonus when you get the other program manuals. Now, for those of you who've got someone going to college, university, this one here is full of thousands of different scholarships and programs and resources for you to access the funding you need. So you don't ever have to worry about paying post-secondary education. You can have 1 kid or 10 kids for all I care. Why not send them to school for free? Some of the finest colleges. Now, some people make the mistaken assumption, well, don't you have to be low income to qualify for these grants? No. I've got many wealthy friends who send their kids to college for free thanks to this program right here. A lot of times it can be based on income, but most times it's based on grades or other interesting areas. For example, whatever you're studying or a geographic location or things like that. There's all kinds of areas. Trust me, we'll help you get a kid's college paid for this particular program, which retails for $1,000. I'm going to include this one as a free bonus for you here today as well. So this one, as well as the real estate program, are included. The third bonus is the grant locator, this ongoing continuing education, which you know comes by newsletter and by CD, also online streaming too. So you can have the CD for your car, you can have the online streaming for your home computer or your smartphone, whatever. I do retail these for $7.99 a month, but when you become a client of mine, I told you the way to get a couple for free. Here's how. Become a client today. Purchase those first 2 programs. I include those other 2 manuals I just mentioned, the real estate and education for no cost, consulting included for free as well. This one here, I will waive the first 2 months so you get them for free. Take them for a test drive. Try them out. You're going to love these. 6 different topics every single month. And all I ask you to do is cover a small shipping and handling cost for the CD and the newsletter. Now that will come to you, within a few days of the first of each month. I'll send you each month's issue a few days after the first of the month. But with this one here, tell you what, I'm going to give you a third one for free as well. The third one, I'm going to ship it with your course. So the 4 manuals we've already talked about and those CDs that come with those manuals, you're going to get a 5th CD called the Grant Locator. It's a starter Grant Locator CD. It's going to be included in the course. There's no shipping handling on the first one. Why? Because I'm going to pay for it. Shipping handling is all covered by me. I'll pay the FedEx cost to ship it to you. This one here, no shipping handling cost in the first one, just $6 in the second and third month only. What happens then? Are you locked in? Can you never cancel? No, you can cancel whenever you want. You can cancel to the first, second, third, or fourth month. It's month to month. Stop whenever you want. Shoot me an email. Whatever. We'll cancel it anytime you want to. But if you do go beyond those first 3 issues into the 4th month beyond, I'm going to waive that $79. I'm going to, in fact, cut it in half all the way down to a flat, all-inclusive $39 a month. So that $39 a month is month to month as well. It includes tax, includes shipping, and something really cool happens then. Once you are at your 4th issue of the Grant Locator, you're going to get access to the entire online library, 120 issues. You're going to find over 120 business topics, 120 real estate topics, 120 education topics, pointers, advice, 120 interviews, all online in your own private, online, accessible, password protected area. It is over $10,000 in value. You're going to get that as an added bonus as well once you're at the 4th month there of the Grant Locator. So to recap everything, what you get is my business funding program, the How to Apply course manual, and the CDs, of course, that goes with that, the personal one-on-one consulting worth over $10,000, the business education, the Grant Locator. Add the total value of everything here, not including the online archives of all the old Grant Locators. I would put it over $20,000 in total value, but just these alone on the screen here, over $14,000 in total value. Again, the bonus is I'm going to waive those costs on the bottom, and of course the $10,000, I'm going to waive that. The $2,000, tell you what, I'm going to make this irresistible for you here. If you take advantage of this right now, take advantage of this now. This is not going to be around forever. I'm going to give you a link here in a second to do this. I'm going to cut that $2,000 in half to only $997. In fact, a little bit less than half, just $997. That's it, just $997. That's it. That's all you pay. That's all you ever pay. Now, to take advantage of this offer, it's all explained on the website here. Go to getgrantfundingcourse.com. It's 4 words, getgrantfundingcourse.com. It can be all uppercase, all lowercase. It doesn't matter. Getgrantfundingcourse.com. It's all detailed on there. Go there. You'll see everything explained as it is explained it to you there on the website. I'll give you 7 full days to change your mind. If you for any reason you change your mind on this, simply contact me. I'll send you the return instructions. Here's the website here. When you go there, it looks like this. You can see my smiling face there. It's going to explain everything. It's going to show you the the business how to apply manual there, $9.97. There it is. All the bonuses included for free. It's right there for you. All included, over $14,000. You can simply check out when you're on the website there. And of course, there's more testimonials on there for you as well. You'll like it. It's just really cool. That is the website. So go there now. And to recap, when you go to getgrantfundingcourse.com, you'll find you'll get all these manuals, all these bonuses, all included for free. Basically, it's $9.97. That's it. That's all you pay. That's all you ever need to pay. It's going to pay you thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands. If you're the average person I help, the average client, over $10,000 in total value. I should say over $20,000 is a total amount that my clients receive on average. Excuse me, I was kind of reading while I'm trying to say a different thought there. The value of the course is over $14,000. All you pay is $9.97, but the average grant received in the very first time my clients apply is over $20,000. So maybe you're average, maybe you're above, maybe you're below, I don't know. But there's no limit to how many grants you can apply for. So get started now. This offer will not be around forever. We're going to have this up here for a limited time, but take advantage of it now. As long as the website is live, which won't be forever, getgrantfundingcourse.com. You want to check out the offer. It's on there. You're going to immediately get a welcome email from me, and you'll get contact within 24 hours from my assistant who will send you your personal tracking link for FedEx, because I'm going to ship these at my cost to you via FedEx. It's going to come within 2 to 3 days via FedEx, sometimes next day, sometimes 2 or 3 days. But I'll see the tracking number there for you. And I'll also send you my personal, private, confidential email so we can begin consulting as well. Remember, the consulting is good for a full entire year. And, get started right away on that. We'll find that you might even get a grant before the course arrives if you're that fast. It can happen to you. That we've actually seen that before. It's not that uncommon, but it's kind of fun when it happens. So, take advantage of this. It is a gift that keeps on giving. It truly is. As your business goes into 2022 and 2023, you can apply for grants, multiple grants every single year. Maybe you've got kids every 2 years spaced out going off to college, one after the other. This program will provide you the information and the education that you need to not have to worry about where the money is going to come from to launch that business, to grow it, to expand it, to buy another investment property, to pay for your kids' college, etc. Go to getgrantfundingcourse.com now and take full advantage of this. Now, Ty, if you're there, we should maybe do some Q&A if people have any questions.
Sure. Yeah, I've got a hard stop in about 3 minutes. I've got to run to a podcast interview.
Sure.
But if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. And Chris, also, can you give them your contact information so they can get in touch with you if they don't get their questions answered here?
Absolutely. Right on the top of the screen there, customer service at grantfundingexpert.org. That'll go right to us. I'll get those questions. So customer service at grantfundingexpert.org is my email address. It's a .org, not a .com. So make sure you write down correctly or take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot. That's the best thing to do here. But email us there if you don't get your questions answered. We'll probably get a lot of questions, but we'll do our best to answer them. Again, no free consulting on the questions, but we'll answer questions about the course, my service, etc. But Ty, far away with your questions. We'll do our best.
Chris, want to know if they can get grants for startups and grant for e-commerce businesses.
Absolutely. We're doing both of those things regularly. E-commerce, there's costs associated with that. We can help you cover those costs, as well as startups. Brand new startups is mostly what we do, actually. There's a lot of expansion funding, but startups is a very popular topic nowadays as well.
Perfect. And then what happens if you get more money than what you actually need?
It's unusual. It's rare. It's so. In fact, it has happened. There might be a requirement to pay some of it back. If you don't spend all the funds, you might not need to spend it. Just give it back. But the details are laid out in the criteria of the program. But it's so rare. It's probably not going to be an issue for you.
Cool. Those are the main questions that I've seen here. Can I get the course piece by piece? It says, instead of all as one bundle.
I sell each manual separately for $1,000, put it that way. And because of the time and effort that goes into it, it works together synergistically. And that's why I offer the discount, because of the grants that I get I didn't go into detail on this, but because of the grants that I get is how I can highly discount this down. It's basically almost at my cost, really. So you can pay $1,000 for each manual separately, or pay $9.97 to get the whole thing is the answer.
Awesome.
You need the whole thing. It works together synergistically.
Perfect. Well, everybody, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I have a podcast interview I've got to get to at 2, which is in about 1 minute. So if you have other questions that weren't put in the chat here, go to customerservice@grantfundingexpert.org, customerservice@grantfundingexpert.org. Look, first of all, I brought Chris here because he was in our funding challenge and he killed it. And somebody else asked about that online event. If you go to creditsuite.com/EIN and you're on our mailing list, we'll notify you of our next challenge, which is going to be this summer. And everybody loved him. So then what I did during his talk was I went and bought his course. Or I went and bought, I think, several things. Went through them, phenomenal information. As a matter of fact, I'm already using some of that information to teach other people how to get grants, not like privately, but like in some of my training. The same as today, I just learned 2 new things from him. So the reason that I brought him here is because I've heard him speak. He's phenomenal. And I bought his stuff. His stuff is phenomenal. It really teaches the step-by-step that you actually need to succeed with this process. And we've seen a lot of people go through Chris's program and have really big success. He showed you a lot of testimonials as well. So make sure you go to getgrantfundingcourse.com. That's getgrantfundingcourse.com. He did me a really big personal favor of doing everything he's doing and basically offering everything in this bundle for the same as like he would usually charge for one thing. And he's doing that for our tribe, for our group. So if you want to take advantage of this, make sure you go to getgrantfundingcourse.com. And again, one reason he's doing this is because he realizes that people that take action quickly are the ones that get the best results. It's the same thing I've realized as well. So make sure you go to getgrantfundingcourse.com. If you have any other questions we haven't answered here, then make sure you go to customerservice@grantfundingexpert.org. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Go ahead, Chris.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.
All right. And now you know the step-by-step of what you need to do to succeed. And if you want to take it to a high level and really get high-level grants, make sure you go to getgrantfundingcourse.com and make sure you reach out to Chris with questions at customerservice@grantfundingexpert.org. Thanks for tuning in.